As a prospective writer, I would urge you to not only read good books, read terrible books as well.
Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Captain Britain uh, part of the Marvel database, kind of like the article. Kind of you get origin of Captain Britain because we're starting in the middle of a particular story. So I'm gonna set this up for you, kind of going along here in just a second. Um, I'm starting a new series called Alan Moore Mondays. And every Monday, I am going to post Alan Moore stories. And he's done Watchmen and Miracle Man and Swamp Thing, and people are familiar with that. So I decided, before we get to those stories, let's do some of his maybe not as big stories, kind of just to get our feet going. My goal is to go through all his stuff. So um not just Watchmen and Miracle Man and Swamp Thing, but things like Wildcats and Supreme that he did in the 90s for Image comic books. So, and other stuff. I have covered a little Alan Moore before, but I decided every Monday is an Alan Moore. So, what is happening basically is Captain Britain had a story going on. I digress real quick. I bought this trade paperback, like I said, when it first came out. Absolutely, these stories were not available, and Marvel had done some agreements with Alan Moore so that the stories could be reprinted. But then Alan Moore or Marvel, I guess, didn't keep up the um their end of the bargain. So this is once again uh out of print and you can't get them. Marvel also printed them in comic books in the 90s, but again, those are out of print. So Alan Davis does the art. However, it's an early Alan Davis, so he hasn't quite become the superstar that he is today. So here we go. So I'm just kind of go a little verbatim on this. These are a couple of short stories. These are a bunch of short stories that appeared in the back of some British Marvel publications. So it doesn't quite follow the rhythm of a comic book. So and like I said, we're gonna go through these, and then once we're done with Captain Britain, we're just gonna move on to the next one. So I do hope you enjoy the works of Alan Moore. So here we go. It is England, but not our England. A world is dying in agony, but it is not our world, not yet. This is an alternate Britain, sideways in time from our own. These gentlemen are the status crew. They are its protectors. 10 years ago, they seized control of their country. It wasn't easy. First, they had to kill all the superheroes. Since then, however, Britain has been relatively quiet, maybe a little depressed, maybe a little desperate, but quiet. And then a couple of weeks ago, things started coming unstuck. Um, I like the lettering. So, very, I wanna, I don't know. This has like a small budget comic book feel, and I do like that. So, this guy kind of freaks out. Oh my God, Major, will you look at this, please? The narrator continues. You see, the superheroes were dead, or at least that's what everyone assumed until the sudden appearance of, and then we of course get Captain Britain. So, like I said, each page, instead of having like a splash page, this is how you're gonna know that it's a new chapter. You'll have Captain Britain and then the title. So, all right, and from that point on, things began to go downhill fast. So the major goes, "What's the problem? Don't you know it's hell?" Correct. It's hell. It's a crooked world. So Man, Alan Moore. Just kind of getting things going. You can see why people absolutely love his work and why he's considered, um, maybe not the greatest writer, but one of the. He is in my top 10. I don't have him at one. Ed Brubaker is my all-time favorite writer, but the dude is in my top 10, and my top 10 fluctuates with almost everyone except Ed Brubaker. So he's in there, but he's always in that top 10. So all right, we continue. Medcom reports it's Medcom reports freak weather conditions spreading over the country. Hail, heat, lightning. Am I seeing this? Earth tremor along the East Coast, Major. And then the narrator continues. And as the world goes crazy, a last jigsaw piece falls into place in the Major's minds. And so the Major thinks here that superhero Captain Britain, the woman Saturn 9, and her followers. Intelligence suggests that they are agents from a parallel world. Don't know how they figured that out, but hey, it's comic books. Sometimes we just gotta get to the point. He continues thinking, add that to the reports of tampering with the reservoir earlier today, along with the latest development, and the situation becomes obvious. The Major speaks. Gentlemen, I believe we are being invaded by creatures from another dimension. We have no choice, gentlemen. We must unleash the fury. So, in just one page, look at how the stakes have moved. I mean, Alan Moore, if anything, just goes boom, boom, boom with this story. Um, when we get to Miracle Man, you will see uh, this kind of build like that quickly. So, meanwhile, in the Dimensional Development Court, Saturnine, what is happening? Is this some sort of side effect of the plush? Says Captain Britain. No, no, it can't be. I don't know. She answers. Um, this dude here is Jackdaw. I really don't know much of it. So feel free to look up if you are curious as to a little bit of his origin and stuff by going into that Marvel database that I shared down there. So Jackdaw says, Captain, I don't think the roof is going to last much longer. Captain Britain says, Okay, Jackdaw, I'll try and get you outside without hurting your injured arm. Saturnine and the avant garde can follow behind. Again, this is picking up after another story by writer Jamie Delano. Alan Moore took over. Jamie Delano had like a first half, and Alan Moore gets the second half. So stuff has happened, but we're not sort of going to concern ourselves with everything that happened prior to this. So, Saturnine, this is horrible. Anything like this ever happened before when your people have used the life enhancing fluid? You can see here it's just kind of going crazy here. Of course not. I've never seen anything like this. It is as if reality itself is being bent out of shape. Can you do something? And Captain Britain here kind of looking aback. Can I do something? And then he, looking at his tone here, or at how he points at her. Shouldn't that be you who does something? Ever since I got myself involved with you and your project, my homeworld has gone slowly crazy. And then off panel here, this isn't your world, Captain, it's ours. And you and your friends have spoiled it. Allow me to introduce you to the Fury, Captain. The Fury is a symbiote instead of symbiote, a symbiote, an unstoppable amalgam of flesh and metal. So like a cyborg, I would say, but hey, a symbiote sounds cooler. And then he says it kills superheroes. So here, the symbiote moves cautiously toward its fallen prey. Its feeler circuits estimate damage, its biofilaments probing for life signs. The superhero is still alive, he has some form of force field around him. There is an 85% probability that he is planning a counterattack. The Fury doesn't worry. It is used to superheroes and their strange powers. 10 years ago, it battled the Iron Talon, who could become invisible. It killed him. You can see by the way some of the words are. Alan Moore is still also in that learning. He is not quite reached that point of one of the greatest of all times. He's still finding himself. So, it battled Colonel Tuskers and his killer toys. It battled the atomic powerhouse called Miracle Man. It killed them. It has become used to superheroes. Real quick on Miracle Man. At that time, he was not known as Miracle Man, Marvel Man. He's referring to somebody else entirely. He's not referring to the Miracle Man that he takes over. Miracle Man had to change his name from Marvel Man to Miracle Man due to, at that time, Marvel Comics. So, we continue here. It finds them predictable. Finds them wanting. Jackdaw says, I don't believe it. The captain hit it with everything he's got and it just brushed him off. And Saturnine says, that's because he's an amateur, Jackdaw. Avant-garde, atomize that brute, as she points at him, and then they all hit him. It is even looking at us. Welcome to the amateur hour, your whiness, says Jackdaw. If you're sort of familiar with some of these characters, you've probably seen them in Excalibur from the late 80s run at Marvel. So, Saturn continues here. This is all too much. The push has gone wrong. The world is falling to pieces. And now this thing shows up. It's time to cut my losses. Avant-garde, to my side. Warp formation. We're getting out of here. So they all go with their umbrellas here. You're what? You can't leave the captain and me to face this thing on our own. You... And then she disappears. I like this. Plink. You can. And Captain Britain. Saturnine, he screams. And your whiness. So this dude here is called Dimples. And he says, she left me behind. She forgot about me. But I did everything she wanted. I was a good servant. Didn't do anything wrong. She left me behind. I loved her and she forgot about me. I loved her. And here, nuisance distraction. A gland oozes. A circuit is complete. And then, boom, just kills him. And here comes Jackdaw. Dimples, it killed him. It killed him. Nuisance distractor. And then shoots at Jackdaw. And Captain Britain's like, not again. So, just obliterates the bottom portion of poor Jackdaw. And Captain Britain goes, Jackdaw, your legs there. And Jackdaw says, it's all right, Captain. Merlin will whisk me away to Otherworld in a minute and patch me up. That's what he did the last time. I wasn't supposed to tell you. Don't you fret, Captain. Everything will turn out all right. Any minute now, Merlin will fix everything up just fine. You'll see. Any minute, you'll see. And then, poor Jackdaw dies, and you can see Captain Britain here holding him tightly. In just a few pages, Alan Moore has really moved the stakes up. Just, he's already he killed one person in just horrendous fashion, and then he gut wrenching. Then the second person that he kills him. Captain Britain is very angry. He's like, you murdered him. He was my only friend and you murdered him. He yells at him. We continue here. The pain and grief boil up from his throat in a soul-wrenching scream. He coils and leaps, every muscle shrieking with the desire to kill. And here he's like, Kya, probably yelling it, but I'm not gonna yell at the on this microphone. Very good pose by Alan Moore. Nice panel. But it isn't enough as the Fury just hits him nonchalantly, knocking him down. Um, and he hangs on. He holds his arm here. It's broken, my arm, but that isn't possible. My force field. What the hell is this thing? Real quick, the language here is a little bit more adultish. That was not in the American Marvel. This is from 19. When was this originally came out? Let's see. These were published in Britain first. I think these are from like 1982. So, these were published in the back of they'd have reprints of American Marvel comics, and then they'd have like a insert a Captain Britain story here. So they just didn't speak with this. I mean, they didn't say hell at all in Marvel till probably the early 2000s. So suddenly this orb appears here and says, "It's the Fury, Captain. It's death. I designed it myself, you know. It's quite unstoppable, you may have noticed." And he's like, "Who?" He throws out, "We're not revealing anything yet. Climb aboard, Captain. Perhaps you'd care to join me in a pot of tea. Don't worry. There'll be room for both of us. Ha ha ha. I am the man with the answers, Captain. I'm the upside down box at the bottom of the page. I'm Mad Jim Jaspers. I think we've met." So this actually concludes the part of the issue. So now we're gonna go into the second part, and then we'll be done. So we'll do two parts, hopefully each Monday here. If I don't ramble too much, it won't take that long. So, all right. So, it is flesh. It is metal. It is a symbiote. It is called the Fury. It kills superheroes. It is fast, clever, lethal, invulnerable. It never gives up. Not even when the alternate Earth it was created to protect goes horribly and inexplicably mad all about it. Not even when it is intended victim is snatched from its grasp by a device which cannot exist. Not even then. It has a job to do. It has to kill superhumans from another world. It never gives up. And here you can see he's watching it, kind of Terminator-ish. This is before the Terminator came out, so but we got some Terminator vibes here. Data impulses crackle along its spine wires. It estimates velocity and trajectory. It balances an eerie intuition against a cold alien intellect, and then with a silence that is chilling in anything so big it turns. I sometimes get sidetracked because they split the words to get the balloons kind of fitting here. So, and melts into the gathering fog like the shadow of a nightmare. So Alan Moore definitely likes. So again, we now have our next chapter here. A nightmare that will soon become a terrible reality for Captain Britain. And of course, we got the title of this part, The Graveyard Shift. All right, Jaspers, I want some answers, and I want them now. You're somehow behind all this, aren't you? You were the first person I met when I arrived on this insane parallel world. Since then, a woman I tried to help has betrayed me. Some kind of mechanical horror has broken my arm. Reality has gone haywire, and Jackdaw, Jackdaw's dead. And I love this part. A tragedy, Captain, shocking, and him so young. But not to worry, eh? The kettle's on and the pot's warming. Let's have a nice cozy natter, Captain. Just you, me, and an intimate circle of friends. He points at these The room is far too big to fit inside Mad Jim Jasper's flying teapot. Captain Britain's mind staggers for balance as reality slips another notch. He's out of his depths here. He wonders if he'll get through this with his mind intact. He doubts it. Man, early more. See, this is kind of what I wanted to start with Captain Britain. You can kind of see him. He's again, he's not quite there yet, but he'll get there. So, I'll be mother, Captain. Help yourself to sugar. Now, I suppose you're wondering. Sorry, I'll start. Now, I suppose you're wondering why I asked you here this evening, eh? Ha 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 ha. Yanity, Captain. It's why I wanted someone to know what a cheeky chappy I am. I have no idea what that means. Chappy probably is from chap, probably a person. I don't know. Cheeky, like a good, I would imagine. So, you'll have to forgive me. I don't know what. I don't speak British English, so. You see, this is the end of the world as performed by Mad Jim Jaspers, formerly Sir James Jaspers, Lord Jim to his friends. Haha. No word of a lie, Captain. I used to be a pillar of the nation back in those days. Remember, member of Parliament, birthday honors, lists. Oh yes. Of course, that was why I was still pretending to. Oh, of course, that's why I was pretending to be normal. And so here you can see him here, and all the signs kind of all say the same thing. If they were honest, they wouldn't wear masks. So I had a lot of influence back then, although not so much as I've got now. Naturally, it was me who suggested wiping the superheroes you know. So I thought it was a cracking idea. By the time I got through with the public, they did too. All they needed was the means to do it. So I gave them the fury. I designed it myself, you know? Don't like to to blow my own trumpet, but I'm a bit of a genius on the quiet. And you can see the fury taking on all those heroes. It was a smashing bit of kit, Captain. Indestructible, ruthless. It never gives up. Killed every superhero on the planet within 2 years. All except me. I programmed it, you see, and I'm no mug. That's why I didn't interfere when I rescued you just now. Drink up, Captain. Your tea's getting cold. So, love Alan Davis, kind of making him look a little bit insane. Wait a minute. Are you trying to tell me, are you telling me that you are superhuman and that you provoked the nation to exterminate its superheroes so you wouldn't have any competition? And so, love the cap here. You've got it, Captain. Hole in one. It almost looks like, if you don't see that parrot, it's Captain Hole, but I'm a mutant. It's my brain, you know? It's very powerful. It bends reality to suit itself, and it gets stronger all the time. And then that's why everything's been so disjointed since I came back to this world, so mad illogical. It's you. You're gradually taking control of reality, and you're mad. Quite right, Captain. Mad as a hatter, but let's not get in a tizzy about it. The party's just getting started. Am I right, boys? He pointing at them. And here they are, including his friend here. Right as ninepence, Mad Jim, they all say. He wheels to the sudden sound of mass voices raised in chorus. He hadn't really noticed his fellow guests before. So here they are. And you can see the fear. Algernon, Dimples, and Jackdaw, but they're dead. I saw them die. So Algernon must be one of these people. So, and now he's wearing like the Mickey Mouse ears. Can Jasper's mind really be that powerful, able to twist everything into a deranged and perverted nightmare? Mister, give us a quid. That must be money. Um, I'm Autumn, and I'm 7. Sometimes I think this must be the worst world anywhere. It has the face and voice of a child. It is burning. He screams, and here's Jasper's laughing. Ha 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 ha. Screams and runs. Captain Britain. That just Alan Moore style. I'm sorry, not Alan Moore. Alan Davis's style. You can really see his art, but how cartoony he was in the beginning before he kind of straightened everything up. But definitely much more cartoony than it is now. Quite forgetting for the moment where he is. Oh no, my arm, because it's still broken, and here he falls. Good vertical panels here. Couldn't use my flight powers. No time to gather my concentration. Where am I? All this fog. Can't see. It looks like some kind of. I love the way he looks. I mean, Alan Moore really makes him just look so beat up. Graveyard. The hero's graveyard, the final resting place of those slain in the 10 years before. White marble rears proudly against the chaos of the blackened sky. He walks amongst the headstones, savoring the names of these slain champions he never knew. And here we got the Arachnid, Iron Trillion, Captain Royce, Miracle Man, Puppet Man. Who were they? How did they come to be in this place? And here he comes into and sees a graveyard here, Captain UK. And he goes, Captain UK, and an open grave. I remember one of the status crew saying that Captain UK escaped the purges somehow. That headstone, that Union Jack, this grave could almost be for me. I'm going to die here in this lunatic world. I know I am. Why, Merlin? Why did you send me here? Why have you forgotten about me? Again, we're mid-story and we're not covering Jamie Delano's. We're only concentrating on Alan Moore's portion. So, again, feel free to go into the Marvel database that I have below if you're interested in everything that happened before this. Feel free to check it out. And here it kind of in despair. Why, Merlin? Why? And behind him we can see the Fury. So we continue here. It knew he would be here. It came to meet him. Range, point blank, resistant, negligible. A gland oozes. A circuit is completed. And the Fury fires at Captain Britain here. A Skarak. And a universe away, a frightened young woman suddenly shivers. Shivers despite the warmth of her room. Its stack is its task is completed. Captain Britain is dead. A pang of dread stabs through her. A horror she had, though buried, turns over in its sleep. Sorry, sometimes making sense of these panels. So as I read them, they sound a little quirky because I'm trying to make sense of it. Again, just kind of with the words not finishing up, it just kind of. So it's almost as if someone just walked over her grave, and then we end here with this chapter. So that's actually gonna do it for us here. I hope you enjoy this basically career retrospect on Alan Moore. As I said, every Monday I hope to have the continuation of this story, and then once we're done, we'll move on to another Alan Moore story. Like and subscribe. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.